there could be a lot of hidden and escalating costs in restaurant leases.
That right there scares me. That's a lot of people, a lot of turnover in the restaurant business. So you're spending a lot of time just on that alone. It's a tough business. Everyone knows that, I think.
If they're the top performing stores or even in the top decile of performing stores in the concept, there's got to be somebody in the existing system who wants them. And if not, then why?
In 20 years, has the population doubled and your EBITDA has doubled and you have a tailwind here? Or is this a stagnant area where like this thing's 1.1 in EBITDA, it's going to be 1.1 forever?
Hello, another episode of Acquisitions Anonymous.
We don't have 100% beers anymore.
And thumbs down on just the flex inventory.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Acquisitions Anonymous. I'm Mills Snell, one of your co-hosts. We have all four of us today, Mills, Bill, Michael, and Heather, and we talk about a chain of 6 Fazolis, the fast casual Italian concept in Texas, in kind of rural and West Texas. It's a really interesting episode because we talk about the dynamics of an established franchisee versus maybe a new franchisee. We talk about a market like this where you've got 6 locations in multiple different cities. The business has been around for a while. We talk about the role of real estate and CapEx in something like this. How does this business fare over time? The dynamics of buying and selling a franchise versus, a run-of-the-mill business. There's a lot in this episode that we cover. It is a great size business. It's doing over, I think it's around 1.1 million in EBITDA. And so it's in a competitive size range, but it's in kind of a non-competitive category, being food service. And we talk about all those different dynamics. I think it's a great episode. Hope you enjoy it. Stick around for a quick word from one of our sponsors.
Hey everyone, it's Bill, and I want to tell you about maybe the most exciting sponsor we've had in a long time on the pod. It's called Capital Pad, and it is the thing that I wish existed when I started my journey of operating and investing in small businesses. So Capital Pad is a marketplace for acquisition entrepreneurs, that is, people who want to buy a business and need capital to list their deals and solicit capital from other people who want to invest in acquisition deals. So if you want to back somebody buying a small business, Capital Pad is the place to do it. And if you want to buy a business and need capital, you can go on Capital Pad to be introduced to investors. So the really great thing too from the investor side is that Capital Pad takes care of all of the details that can get hairy with small business acquisitions. They handle standardized terms, standardized governance, standardized distributions, all upfront in black and white. Basically, Capital Pad professionalizes investing in small businesses. And the returns can be really, really good. I'm so stoked they exist. It's founded by my friend Travis, who is a phenomenal entrepreneur in his own right. So if this sounds like something that is appealing to you, if you want to buy a small business and need capital, or if you want to invest in small businesses, go check out capitalpad.com and tell them that Acquisitions Anonymous sent you. All right. Michael started this episode right before he hit record by swearing he was going to stay quiet and not talk the whole time. So we'll see.
He's
how
even
this
covering
goes.
his mouth for extra.
So, okay. Actually, since you're making me talk, I'll do it. The reality is I got a little paranoid that I was doing too much talking in our episodes, and I started to listen to the last 5 or 6 I was in to make sure I wasn't talking over everybody too much. And I think I'm okay. That's my read. You guys let me know if I get out of control.
I think you're
a
okay.
safe space, Michael. You're okay.
It's a safe space.
You're all right. Well, we know how passionate you are about franchised places to have dinner. So I expect you actually will be fired up about today's deal.
Yes. Yeah, I ran across this. It's super fascinating. So it had a lot of the stuff that I think is interesting for us to talk about. So let me read you this one. So it is off BizQuest. It is 6 Fazoli's franchises located in Texas, located in Abilene, Texas. So I will pause there. Do you guys know where Abilene is?
I've heard it in a lot of country songs, but that's about it.
Okay. Do you know where Fort Worth is?
Yes.
Do you know where Midland is?
Yes.
I do.
Okay. So it's about 35% of the way from Fort Worth to Midland on the interstate out in the middle of nowhere.
Okay. Why is it in all the country songs?
Great question.
I mean, look, when you live out in West Texas, there's not much out there. You can talk about Amarillo, you can talk about Abilene, and you can talk about Lubbock. Other than that, it drops off pretty quick.
Okay, so Abilene and Amarillo is making it in the country songs. I've never heard a country song about Lubbock, Texas.
Doesn't sound
Doesn't
as
roll
good.
off. Roll off the tongue.
No.
It doesn't.
Have you guys been to Lubbock?
No.
Okay, I highly recommend it. It is the home of Texas Tech, and it's also kind of the center for all the West Texas wind boom. So like there's just tons of stuff supporting all of the turbines out there. If you drive out to West Texas, it's just turbine field after turbine field for wind energy. But
turbine field after turbine field with Fazoli's scattered in there.
Six of them.
Exactly. But so the other thing that Lubbock does a lot of is cattle processing, because West Texas is all about cattle. So Lubbock can either be like a totally delightful place in the Texas High Plains in the West, or you could be there in the moment where the wind shifts and the cattle feedlots the wind goes through the cattle feedlot before it reaches where you are. So I took my son once to go visit Texas Tech with the idea he could potentially go there. And then he's like, Dad, what's that smell? I'm like, son, those are cows about to be slaughtered.
That's Texas.
That's Texas.
So, Michael, there's a place when I lived in Denver. There's a place north of Denver that is, the name of it is escaping me, that is a huge cattle processing place also. That smell is not the feed. That smell is the blood of the slaughtered cows. I know exactly the smell that you were talking about. It is not the feed.
Goodbye now. I'm leaving.
It's hard.
Heather's like signing off for today.
Yeah.
So speaking
Now
of,
let's talk about food.
Yeah.
So Abilene, I think, is like 100,000 person city out there. They have, it's enough to where they have banks, and like Chase Bank has stuff there, and there's a country club, I'm sure. So it's big enough to be like a real town. But it's not one of the big four towns or cities in Texas, which are Houston, San Antonio, Austin, and Dallas.
Okay.
So
enough to
tell us
six
about these.
Fazoli's, though.
I'm thinking, can it possibly sustain 6 Fazoli's? Maybe, read more for us, Michael.
Yeah. Let me tell you more. So it's in Taylor County, Abilene, Texas. They're asking $5 million for 6 of these restaurants. They don't disclose their cash flow, but the EBITDA is 1.1 million. So asking price is 5 million, 1.1 million EBITDA. It looks like they run typical restaurant gross margins with gross revenue at 13.3 million. So they're doing a little over 2 million in revenue per Fazoli's. And they have some pictures here of what a Fazoli's looks like. It looks like just like, I don't know, how would you describe this, Bill?
It looks like a strip mall Italian place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's Italian fast food.
It looks like a TGI Fridays or a Chili's, but if it were Italian.
It's not as nice as a Chili's. Okay. So it's an established cash flow opportunity here in Taylor, Texas. Taylor County, Texas. 6 Fazoli's, Italian fast casual franchise businesses. So it's like a down market Olive Garden, best way I could describe it. They do here, even though they didn't say cash flow, they said the adjusted seller's discretionary earnings is $1.3 million on 13 million. So about 10% theoretically going into the owner's pocket. Heather, when you see adjusted SDE, what does that typically mean?
I only care about adjusted EBITDA, and it's exactly what you said. The difference between adjusted EBITDA and SDE is just this seller's salary and or maybe some benefits. Sometimes they throw in the car or whatever else. So the owner is presumably making $200,000 a year for himself as a salary of some kind, but the business cash flow is 1.1. And I don't like SDE as in anything that we do, because if you're going to raise equity, if you're going to run the company, you're going to be paying a salary. So that's just an expense. It's a business expense. I don't know why brokers love SDE so much, but lenders go by adjusted EBITDA.
Yeah. Well, it does appear this person's paying themselves $200,000 a year in salary. Located in Central Western Texas, all stores feature drive-thrus, no deferred maintenance, stores up to brand standards, and all CapEx was completed in 2021. The real estate is not included. Looking at the photos, it looks like these are mostly rented spaces in typical strip malls, and probably Abilene's the type of place probably still has a mall.
A lot of like out parcels too.
Yep.
out in front of like the Home Depot or the Lowe's or the Walmart or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So how the real estate is locked up in the future of it, I think, is a big question here, because there could be a lot of hidden and escalating costs in restaurant leases. But that's something we can put a pin in and come back to. 4 of the 6 stores are in the top 5 for performance in the entire Fazoli system. A longtime operator is retiring and willing to stay on for a transition period. District managers to transfer with the sale, and the franchisor approval is required. Transfer fees not included. It is lender reviewed and bankable. Oh, Heather, They did your job for you.
It's bankable, easy.
It's already done. Wow, that's great.
I like that better than pre-approved, though. I mean, that
Bankable.
basically says like we've had a lender look at it and it's not egregious, which I appreciate.
I do too. That is much better. Yes.
A bit more here. 28 years in operation, 135 employees. It's currently a franchisee. No CapEx is required. They have the
They've all
listing
been
here.
remodeled since 2018. That's kind of important because they probably did that in conjunction with lease renewal.
Yep.
That's true. Okay, so that's good.
Market overview. West Texas, known for its oil industry and small towns, has a growing appetite for diverse culinary options, including Italian cuisine. The region's restaurant scene is evolving with a mix of long-standing local favorites and newer establishments catering to changing tastes. There are some local Italian favorites, such as Luigi's Restaurant in Midland, which I think is 3 hours away. Like, I don't know how that's a competitor for something in Abilene. Orlando's Restaurant in Lubbock, an Italian village in Midland. There's also a fast casual Marco's Pizza. Like, I don't know why they list these competitors like in Midland. Like, you have to fly there. It's like a 2.5, 3 hour drive at 70 miles an hour from Abilene to get to Midland. It's in the middle of nowhere.
Well, it seems like they're saying, right, when you go back up, Michael, I don't think all 6 of these are in, they say 6
In Abilene.
I thought
so your
located
thesis is
in central/western Texas.
So
I think they I don't think the market would sustain 6 Fazoli's. They've got to be spread out.
So your suspicion is there's one in Midland, one in Lubbock, one in these different places. So
Yeah. But I love that they throw out Marco's Pizza. It's like competition. There is also a Chinese restaurant down the street, you know?
all right, let me finish this up. Franchisor has identified a 5 to 6 store growth market potential with a niche in fast casual Italian. And they want to have a bridge between traditional sit-down restaurants and pizza chains. They're offering customizable pasta dishes or build-your-own Italian sandwiches that could appeal to younger demographics. And there are people wanting lighter Italian options as well as adopting some technology. So this is actually this is one of the best broker kind of, here's the things you could do to improve this business if you want to do that I've ever seen. It's not just like go buy Facebook ads, which appears to be what every other broker recommends.
Start marketing.
Consider marketing. All right. The real estate is all leased. They pay $86,000 a month in rent. And then lease expiration is 1/7/2031. So that's about 6 years from now. Is that right, Bill GPT?
More or less, yes. Which is good. It's not 10 years, but it's going to need to be 10 years if you want an SBA loan.
That's right. Bill is trained well.
Yep,
Job.
I've done this a few times.
All right. So that's what we know. Mills, you're going to fly out to Abilene and check this one out. They do have air service, but you can only fly to Dallas.
There's direct from Columbia to Dallas, so this could work. I see it.
I
see
have
it
flown
coming
to
together.
Midland before. I've been to Midland in a plane. Yeah. It's a lot of pipeline under the plane.
Yeah. So here's what I like about it. It seems like it's been around for a while. These locations seem established. They have recently renewed their lease. They're going to have to renew it again as part of this sale process if you use an SBA loan. But, it's not a big ask to ask a landlord to extend from 6 years to 10 years. It's not nearly as big ask as extend from 2 years to 10 years, right? So that'll be easier. It says that these are high-performing stores. It's a little weird to me that they said 4 of their 6 stores are in the top 5 performers in the whole Fazoli system, which would indicate that, of the top 5, 4 of them are these, which is pretty wild. If that is true, I think I like
crazy.
that.
I mean, how many Fazoli's are there? There's got to be over 100 Fazoli's.
Yeah. So that seems a little strange. Maybe they meant like top 5%, but even still, like if that is true, these are well-run restaurants.
Yeah.
Right. I also like that he dropped that the district managers will transfer with the sale, which means that he has a decent level of middle management in place.
There's 195 Fazolis.
Okay. So that means even the top 5% here would be, what would that be, like 10 stores?
In the top 10 stores. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's impressive. So it's possible this is actually a really well-run restaurant group, which I like.
I like that, but it also, so I think it scares me a little bit because restaurants in particular, but like any business, the operator is so key. And if this person is already like, this is not a material growth, material margin improvement kind of play. This is, I buy it and I just hope that I can hold on and not erode margins. And restaurants are really, really hard to do that in.
Today's episode is brought to you by good friends of the podcast, Edler Zane. Edler Zane is the CPA firm for entrepreneurs. Not only have they supported over 100 acquisition entrepreneurs through quality of earnings and tax structuring, they also offer a full stack CPA solution for business owners and operators called the Builders Package. The Builders Package covers all of your tax, bookkeeping, and fractional CFO needs at one simple monthly price. To learn more, go to their website at edlerzain.com. That's Edler Zane, and tell them we sent you.
That's true.
The way I would describe this, I just pulled up their pictures. This is like Panera, but for Italian.
Have you never been to a Fazoli's, Michael?
No.
You don't cheat on Chili's?
Not a big Italian guy. I don't know. Is this about to get us canceled again? I'm not a huge fan of it. And then cheap Italian.
I think I went to a Fazoli's one time in Kentucky, which they do have 33 locations in Kentucky. I think more than any other state. That's interesting. And I think I was in high school. It's been a while.
Okay. I mean, inexpensive place to get Italian for the whole family is basically what this is.
The one in San Antonio, this is why I've never been here, Mills. The one in San Antonio, I just pulled up the picture of it. It's attached to a truck stop. I'm not like, hey, honey, it's date night. Let's go to the truck stop.
I mean, don't knock it till you try it, Michael. Come on.
Right.
So what don't we like about this?
That it's a restaurant. I'm a lender. I have to say that.
Thanks, Heather. Everybody was trying to figure out how to say that, but you just nailed it.
I mean, I agree. Like the hours are terrible. The margins are thin. Restaurants is a tough business.
And it's a fickle, the customer is fickle. They change their mind.
Yeah.
They go for something new. Yeah.
I will say, if I have to do restaurants, I like a relatively national brand, something like this, like the new hot tapas place. That's fickle, right? Because you're not going to be the new hot tapas place forever. Fazoli's is never going out of style because it's never been in style. It's just this is what it is. There's kind of always a market for low end Italian. It's going to be there.
Right.
So I do like that when it comes, but it's still a restaurant. I mean, it's still,
and it's 6 stores. So the more stores, the more complicated, the more people. I think it said what 135.
135. Yeah.
That right there scares me. That's a lot of people. And in the restaurant business, a lot of turnover in the restaurant business. So you're spending a lot of time just on that alone. It's a tough business. Everyone knows that, I think.
So here's another thing that makes this somewhat hard mode. So this is the guys or gals 6 locations. So there's 1 in Abilene,
they're far apart,
2 in Midland-Odessa, and 3 in Lubbock. So, but if you do the math here, you're like, oh, those aren't that far apart. West Texas is so big. That is basically each one of those, like between Abilene and Lubbock, is like 130 miles. So like you got to drive 2 hours to go from restaurant to restaurant. And I think that's why the listing says they have district managers. So my guess is the owner runs this one and is the district manager for the one in Abilene because that's where he or she is located. Then there's somebody overseeing the 3 in Lubbock and the 2 in Midland-Odessa.
The thing we talk about that just comes up to me for every single franchise is why is an existing franchisee not buying this? And if they're the top performing stores or even in the top decile of performing stores in the concept, there's got to be somebody in the existing system who wants them. And if not, then why? Nobody is that acquisitive. And I mean, that's what happens in these multi-unit is you end up with a person who is willing to acquire, willing to roll up and get a lot of them. And then you get to a critical mass, probably, 5 times this size, and you got $5 million in EBITDA and you exit. Nobody's doing that in Fazoli's, it doesn't seem like. Or if they are, they just don't want these locations.
I mean, to me, that's also why there's potentially an opportunity here, and this is not going to trade for much money. Like between these 3 towns here, there's 350,000 people, let's say. So then you got to find somebody like out of that pool. You got to find somebody who wants to live in one of these 3 towns, which is tough to do. Like Midland-Odessa, like San Antonio is filled with people that lived in Midland-Odessa, made a lot of money, and moved to San Antonio. Like I have a lot of friends that are that way. And that says something because this is San Antonio. Like, let's be real. But so you got this tiny pool of folks. You have massive competition for labor in these markets. Like Midland-Odessa, like that's the center of the oil field. So there's tons of high paying jobs there. You're competing for that. And then you've got this thing in hard mode, which is you're out in West Texas and your locations are 120 miles from each other. So you got all that put together. Like I wouldn't be surprised, Mills, if a lot of franchisees for Fazoli's looked at this and they're like, whoa, like why do I want to spend every single week driving around in a car when my general manager doesn't show up? Because you got to wake up at 3 a.m. if you want to drive from Abilene to your Lubbock location to bail out that location and have it open on time. Like,
and you look at the density, in Kentucky where there's 33 locations, or Indiana, there's 29 locations, Ohio, there's 16. Like, it's just, I think, a tough sell in that way.
Is it, I mean, how much of it though are you betting on the demographic trajectory of the area, right? Like if you're okay living in this area or, in or around this area, and if this is, and Michael would know better than any of us, like in 20 years has the population doubled and your EBITDA has doubled and, you have a tailwind here? Or is this a stagnant area where like this thing's 1.1 in EBITDA, it's going to be 1.1 forever. And whatever you put into it, you'll be lucky to get out of it in 10 or 20 years because it's not going to be any bigger.
I think it is that way. It's probably more stagnant, which is not bad, right? It also means it's probably predictable, but
Stable,
you just can't underwrite growth.
So, I mean, so what's going on in Texas demographically, or at least whatever geographically with population is these Dallas and Houston are the biggest cities and they're winning by far. They gain more people all the time. Everybody moves there, and Dallas is like a multi-state attractive, and then Houston is international. And then you have Austin and San Antonio that are growing 8% and 12% annually, like respectively. All the rest of the cities, with the exception of Midland-Odessa, are pretty much shrinking or dying slowly. The best they're hoping for is staying the same, because just if the option is for a young person to try to get a future in Abilene, like there's a massive brain suck. They end up in Dallas, Fort Worth for college, and they just stay there. The only one that is really kind of has a bunch of tailwinds is Midland-Odessa, and that's because of the oil market. The shale revolution is still running there, and there's just tons of growth because people are chasing the money. So I would actually look at these 3 markets, Mills, to answer your question about it, and say Abilene, I'm not. I think we look at the numbers, probably shrinking as a city. Lubbock is staying flat mostly because of the university and the wind stuff. And then Midland-Odessa is doing well and has tailwinds there. So it's a mixed bag here.
They made this. Go ahead, Heather.
Oh, I was going to say, switching back to the cash flow, I believe they said no CapEx required, and we're talking about 1.1 million EBITDA. I don't think that you can do that in a restaurant. I don't think you want to add back depreciation and not deduct maintenance CapEx, because there is a cycle of refreshing the brand that every franchise, brand has to go through, but especially restaurants. I mean, there's a lot of wear and tear on the stores. And I think the cash flow, the actual cash flow that you want to set your valuation to is a little lower. You've got to subtract out some maintenance CapEx for 6 stores.
That's where I was going with it. You beat me there. They say, 2018, they renovated the stores and they're up to brand standards. That's 7 years old now. As the franchisee, you get told by the franchisor, hey, it's time to renovate stores, and you have a certain amount of time to do it. and you're paying for that. It could be logo changes. It could be new upholstery on the booths. It could be full, gut the whole dining room. And those are not cheap and they're not quick. And in restaurants, whenever you're doing that, you're shut down. You're not generating revenue. It's not like just putting, a facelift on the outside of the building.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it does say separately all CapEx completed by 2021 also. So there's a little bit of conflicting information in this listing about the 2018 versus the 2021.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as far as listings go, I mean, this could be, I've seen way worse. I mean, this is relatively recently remodeled, which is nice. You see a lot of times sellers get the notification from corporate that they got to do the remodel and they go, I'm selling the business.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So who's the right buyer for this?
I think there's only one buyer for this.
Another Fazoli's franchisee.
I don't think so, Michael, because they clearly already don't want it because they don't want to be in this geography. It's somebody that owns a different franchise in this same geography.
Yeah.
Like you already own, 6 Chili's in the area and you want to add a Fazoli's, right?
Michael,
you're already,
we know you secretly do.
Yeah. Yeah, if there was somebody from Texas who really liked Chili's and Italian food, that would be a good buyer. But I think this is maybe you've got 7 Jiffy Lubes in the area and you want to try your hand at restaurants
or Zaxby's or something.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody who's got 5 to 10 stores already of something else franchised in these markets. That's the only buyer for this.
I don't know that I've ever run into it, but will franchisors squash, like if you're thinking about buying this and you own 7 Zaxby's, is Fazoli's going to let you? Is Zaxby's going to let you diversify into different chains?
I think it depends upon the chain. I mean, some of them at the extreme level, you have like the Chick-fil-A stuff where they just totally restrict you. You can't even own it. You could barely own a second store as a Chick-fil-A person. But then there's other brands like Taco Bell and folks like that. They're totally chill. Like I found out a couple months ago, like all of like the Applebee's and stuff like that. And then like several of the other kind of similar brands are all owned by like one family office out of South Carolina here in San Antonio.
You were doing opposition research on the Chili's people.
Yeah. You got to look out for the home team. Since we're running up on time, do we want to thumbs up, thumbs down this one? How do we feel about it?
If you live in West Texas and own a bunch of Zaxby's, this could be great. I mean, there's probably synergies. I think it could be great, but if that's not you, I think this is tough.
I'm thumbs down on this. For the same reason Heather said, I know that there are people who make money in restaurants. I know that it would not be me, and I don't want to go find that out the hard way.
Yeah, I think
as a lender, I'm obligated to thumbs down restaurants. So that was predetermined.
I think this should trade to somebody who is potentially going to come work their way into owning these things. Like, I think that feels precisely like that. I think that's a better option here because there's just like finding somebody who's going to be willing to pay up for what these people are asking for, which is 4 times EBITDA for a very tenuous business. Like it's rich. So I don't know. I think this is going to end up trading to somebody who's not like a conventional like cash buyer for this. So we shall see. But I'm thumbs up if that person can make it happen. I think there could be a win-win there with the seller. So
there is this interesting phenomenon in franchises, just really quick, where Fazoli's has been around for a long time. You look at the number of new entrants to the market. You've got like every, better burger, place. You've got all the like Tex-Mex, the cycle has just really wound up quickly. And somehow Fazoli's has stayed around. They've made it. So there is some value to me in if you're looking at restaurant and you're looking at multi-unit and it is kind of sleepy, that might actually be better than like trying the new, smash burger. Like, I don't know that those even have really made it, or like the new Mexican concept or the new whatever. I think there's some value in the fact that it's been around for a while.
And we don't have time on this episode, but one of the things that's fascinating to me about this is how, despite this being a very down market concept, like it's Panera for Italian, basically, like their strategy in Texas is to have one or maybe two of these locations per a few 100,000 people. Like they intentionally don't have much density. There's only one of these in San Antonio. There's one in College Station. There's two in the Austin area. Like there's one in Abilene. Like it's just such a bizarre thing. Like when could you imagine a Chili's going into a market and only having one Chili's? Like you would never do that because like lots of people like it. So I don't know if there's something fascinating about this Fazoli's concept as to why they've expanded this way with like in a not dense manner at all. So I don't get it. Maybe one
That
of
was
our
a good one,
listeners-
Michael.
Maybe one of our hey Bill, I have a question for you on this one. Were we too serious on this episode?
Were we too serious? I mean, I had my coffee before this. I gotta say, Michael is trying not to talk. Heather just woke up. Mills, I think, is really good.
Heather hated the deal the whole time,
Right.
and she was
I
just
was in a
biting her
bad
tongue.
Restaurants, I'm out. I'm gonna go get some coffee. No, I don't think we were too serious. I mean, you guys were too serious. I thought I was fine.
You were perfect.
All right. Anybody want to do the outro before I click stop?
All right,
Still not
here's the
party today.
outro. If you thought we were too serious, there are other episodes on which we are way less serious. On our website, acquanon.com, we have other restaurant deals, we have manufacturing deals, we have other franchising deals, we have e-commerce deals, almost 400 deals on acquanon.com. You can also follow us on X at the same handle as the domain name. We tweet all the episodes, and you can also tweet all the hosts as well. I say tweet, but I call it X. I don't know what to do.
Post.
But you know where to find us on the internet. We hope you do, and we'll see you on the next episode.